Well, what's up, everybody? Um, Welcome to yet another live stream. I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing you guys more than I see my neighbors or my friends or my family. But welcome to the Sunday edition. We're on day 9 already of Video a Day Debruary 2020, our third annual event. And I hope you guys all enjoyed the guest that we had on last night. I was reading some of the comments on the channel wall, and there seemed to be some people who got in their feelings about what she was saying and misinterpreted her words. I tried to explain as best I could underneath their responses. I'll keep checking back and try to straighten you guys out. But it's like she said A and y'all went to Z. And I'm like, wait, come on back. Don't go any further than B here. Let's stay with me here. But you can read the comments that they made in my responses if you are curious or you have any concerns yourself. But today I wanted to talk about something that we have not talked about directly before, and it doesn't really seem to be a very common discussion amongst relationship experts and dating experts. But I think it's one that gets a lot of people in trouble, so I wanted to include it in our agenda for February, and that is what's called covert contracts and secret agreements, secret contracts, and it basically boils down to people who are involved with you, but they have a secret agenda. They have ulterior motives. And whatever it is, even if it's not something that's going to be necessarily harmful to you, they're not communicating it. So they have all these secret expectations and secret wishes and dreams and hopes and stuff that usually go unfulfilled because you said, I mean, who's psychic here? I know I have a few little abilities, but am I going to depend on them when you can just open your mouth and tell me what it is that you need from me and what you want, what you're looking for? I mean, at some point, ladies, all the shyness and oh, I don't want, you know, he might, he might leave if I tell him this and that. I just so you more worried about keeping the relationship than you are about being a grown woman. So see, we keep going back to the foundation that I laid at the beginning of this month. And I'm going to keep doing that, referring you back to the 21 things that grown ass women just don't do. And the foundational video from which we launched February this year. Yeah, it's not talked about very much, asked, and it really, I agree with you. It really should be because, well, as I go through this, you'll see why. Because, okay. So first, look at my thick notes. I don't know how to make an outline anymore. I make start, then I say, oh yeah, but I need to make sure I say this. And so I'm typing, and I'm typing, and then by the time I finish it, I've like written an article. So here I am with this, full-fledged thing. So let us move on. Let me get these slides in gear here. Okay. What is a covert agreement, a secret agreement? What is it? It's defined as, in your mind, you believe if you do X for somebody, usually your partner, that they're going to do Y for you. Now, have you asked them to do Y? No. Did they usually ask you to do X? That's why it's a secret because you are doing something in the hopes to get a payoff. You're performing something, you're behaving a certain way in the hopes that someone will magically, mythically, suddenly, and without requesting, like a grown woman, they're going to meet your needs. The same goes in reverse. So you see, as I go through this, I'm going to talk about the men. I'm going to talk about the women too. I'm going to talk about everybody. Talk about your mama. You're like, no, I'm just kidding. But we're going to cover the issues from both sides because they're slightly different. Okay. The problem with these kind of relationships is, you know, if we get into a relationship, the goal is that we're going to be like a partner, right? That's the person that got our back. That's we on the same team. We forging forward like two horses pulling a wagon. Okay. But how is that person supposed to do that when you never tell them what it is that you want? You're not really communicating really clearly what it is that you want, what your goals are, what your thoughts are, what your feelings are. Everything is a freaking secret with you. It also means that the person who you're going to be charging with a crime later because they didn't meet all your secret dreams and goals and stuff, you're going to be charging them with a crime, and that's because they're going to interpret your behavior as you having ulterior motives and a hidden agenda. And like I said, even if it's not the kind of thing where you're doing it with the intent to hurt them or harm them or the relationship in any way, it still causes a breakdown of trust because now the person doesn't know where they stand with you, and you're judging them and complaining and condemning them for doing something wrong that they didn't even know that they were doing. It's like you set people up for failure. I mean, you've all experienced this kind of thing with employers, right? Where they have this, oh, finish this project, and you need instructions. You want to know what the goal is, what the time frame is to finish it, who's gonna help you, this and that. What's the dream in the end? Oh, just do whatever, yeah. And then you give them the product, and then they pick it apart because it wasn't what they wanted. But they didn't tell you what it was they wanted. They just you to figure it out on your own devices, and that's what happens in these relationships. Um, oh, I'm supposed to be changing my slides. So there it is. So basically, what it is when you have these ulterior motives and these hidden agendas, you set your partner up for failure, and you remove any real avenue they have to meet your needs and make you happy because they don't know what that is. So they're just floundering around trying this and that. Some of them might hit and miss and maybe accidentally luck up on something. I mean, I don't know. How what people do different things, and people know their partners on different levels. Some people have known their people since they were teenagers and whatever in college, and now that they're in their 50s. Okay, well, somebody who's known you for 30, 40 years, they're going to have a different way to interpret your behaviors, your facial expressions, the way you breathe, everything, than someone that you just met and started dating pretty recently. You see what I mean? So this, I can't really say definitively that the person's going to completely fail, but why would you want them to have to go through all that struggle when you could just tell them? Just tell them what it is that you need. Okay. And let me give you a couple of examples here that I ran across. This one guy, married guy, he says, I came home from a crazy day at work, and he helped his wife clean the house. He put the kids to bed, and he offered his wife a foot massage. Now, once they start wanting a massage on you, we all know what that means, right? But it was a foot massage, so that's kind of like, maybe, maybe not. But his wife turned him down for, he wanted to get busy, and she said no. And then he got upset because in his mind is, why should I keep doing all the stuff for her if I never get what I want? That was one time. All right, what are you doing here? Acting like a toddler. And I thought relationship would work if, both partners go 100%. If she won't meet my needs, how's it's going to work out? And so then, you asked the dude, well, did you tell her that's what you wanted? Did you say, I want to have eggplant tonight? Did you make that clear? And he's like, well, no, but I shouldn't have to ask. I mean, she didn't ask me to clean the house and take care of the kids or to give her a massage. So why should I have to ask for what I want when she doesn't have to? Okay, what are we, 10? We're 10 years old now. Yeah, I mean, we need clear communication. It's just so. I mean, as I was sitting, getting ready for this show, I could think of dozens of examples where that has happened. I've observed that happening in people's relationships. Even some of the letters that we did one on Facebook on Friday with a guy who expected his female friend, and they were just friends, to not go to the beach and do all the stuff with some other guy, and she had to check dude. But see, he had that hidden agenda and ulterior motives thing going on. And so, and from the female's perspective, just to balance things out, a woman might say, well, I'm always available to him and I never say no, in the bedroom. And I go to the gym and I keep my body looking right. And I read Cosmo to keep things interesting. And if I do all those things, my boyfriend's going to love me and he's going to treat me well and he's going to want to marry me and he'll never leave me. And a lot of women think like that. I saw it on the wall after Joyce's comments last night. Well, you do all of that and he's still going to do this and that, blah, 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 blah. See, you're not doing it because you want to. You're not doing it to take care of your kids. You're doing it with the expectation that if you do X, he's going to do Y. That's why I'm so happy this show was scheduled right on the heels of hers. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about the games of the nice guy and the nice girl. We've talked about the nice guy games plenty of times. Haven't really covered the nice girl side, but we're going to tonight. No, Tish, I don't know. I've been on what, about 10, 15 minutes or so? Not that long. Okay, now let's talk about the nice guys that's all over the internet, right? We see them all the time. They're in these groups now, these incel groups and the other groups because they're upset that they have done certain things that they thought that they quote should do, and they did not get the desired response from women. Like, they said, well, I have an education and I have a job and I have this and I have that, but nobody wants me. Nobody will go on a date with me. No one will give me eggplant. And so it's like, okay, I mean, so so anyway, let's talk about this. They do all the things that they do, these quote nice guys, with the expectation that the woman is going to be attracted to them and like him more after he does all these things for her. And it's like an undercover tit for tat thing. Well, I do tit, you do tat. I do A, you do B. I do X, you do Y. And the woman, just having met this individual, doesn't know that he has all of this. I mean, we do, right? Because we know the game. But your average woman, she's not going to understand that the guy coming in being nice to her and showing her what she thinks is respectful behavior and all that has strings attached. I always look for the strings, though. I don't care how nice you are. I know it's some strings, and if there's not, then I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I've rarely had to be pleasantly surprised. Okay, now when that unspoken, covert agreement, that secret agreement is not met, for example, like he picks her up and they're going on a date, right? He takes her to dinner and then he showed up, he bought her flowers too. So he's pulling out her chair, he's doing all the stuff. And he's thinking, well, I'm doing all of these gentlemanly things. So, she's going to give me some kisses or invite me in to spend the night or something, based on these ways that he treated her so nicely. And what happens when, of course, the woman's like, "Well, I mean, that's nice, but I mean, it's not like that's you bought a coochie coupon or something." So it's like, "What are you talking about?" So she's like, "Okay, that was nice, thank you," and he gets angry because he felt like she used him for dinner and that he invested all of this, and he's looking for his payoff at the end. See, so that's a secret agreement that she had no idea was going on, but it's in his head that was, he was going to do X and she was going to do Y. He was going to get this payoff at the end, and when it didn't happen, he's livid and he's all online, mad that his secret expectations were not met. For example, this is a common one. If I work out and I eat healthy and I take care of my body, then you're gonna work out and eat healthy and take care of yours. How many times have we heard that in the advice column on What the Fuck Tuesdays? And if I plan an amazing surprise birthday party for you, then you'll plan an amazing surprise birthday party for me. Maybe he don't know how to plan a party, and maybe he didn't ask you to plan a surprise party for him because maybe he don't like surprises. But you didn't think about that. You think about what you want. Or they think that if they trade, helping a woman with something, with emotional support, they listen to all her problems, they compliment her, they send her flowers, they work on her house, they do all the stuff. Any other kind of trade for D's, they think they're going to get the woman to like them more. And from the female side, well, if I cook and clean and submit to him, he won't leave or cheat on me. If I avoid confrontation, I never disagree with him, he will love me more. If I meet his needs without him having to ask, then he will meet my needs without me having to ask. And if I'm a good person who doesn't say no, then everyone will like me, and the people that I love will love me back. How many women do you know that have those thoughts going on in their head and those behavior patterns? I bet it could be dozens. Bottom line, that's a road of death and destruction for both of you. If you act this way, anybody who is secure in themselves, like a man who's secure in his manhood and expects reciprocation, or a woman who's confident and self-assured with high self-esteem, and you're acting like this, they're going to dump. They're not going to want nothing to do with you because they can see that you're not an authentic person. You do things with an expectation that you're going to get a payoff from them, and maybe they don't want to give you a payoff. So it's like if you don't want to do something, just do it nicely, just because that's who you are, then don't do it. That's the bottom line. Don't ever do anything in this world thinking that somebody's going to owe you something. And that is the mistake with these covert contracts and secret agreements. The people who are signing them, and it's one signature on this thing now. The other person don't know nothing about this secret document that you have running your life in there in your head. That you're putting other people in a position where you're going to constantly be judging and condemning them and negating them because they're not doing what you magically want them to do. And like I said, people with high levels of confidence and stuff, they're gonna just looking at you like you stupid, and they're gonna be out. And then you gonna it's gonna become a self fulfilling prophecy. You want people to like you, but they're not gonna like you because you're not authentic. And so you see what I mean? It's like you're on this hamster wheel. You got to get off, and I'll give you some tips for how to do that later. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. The more I thought about this, the more I noticed that more so many people do this. And like I said, I just noticed it posted up on the wall in the comment section under Joyce's video yesterday. The women like, well, if I do all of that stuff, that he still might do this, he might do that, he'll still, he can still cheat, he can this, that. That's not why you do it, okay? You don't do it to thinking that you're going to have a contract with him. And as Joyce said, it's all, and her husband said it too. It's about mutual respect. And if you're not getting that, you leave the relationship. You don't stay in it and take something that is abusive under any circumstances. So let us proceed. Okay, let's see. I gotta go to. Okay, here we go. I wanted to go over these things. Are you a nice guy? We're going to go over these explanations of so you can kind of figure out if this is how you're operating your life. Characteristics of nice guys. They seek the approval of other people. They try to hide their flaws and mistakes. They put other people's needs and wants before their own. They sacrifice their personal power and often play the role of a victim. What are they doing online? Playing the role of a victim. Don't have no personal power. Yes, you do. Change yourself and some woman might want you. They tend to be men, these nice guys tend to be disconnected from other men and from their own masculine energy. So that's why they come across to women as not being, it's not even that you have to be alpha, but you have to have some masculine energy to attract a straight woman to you. You don't have no man heat. Okay, it's like you're just a blob. Do something with yourself. They try to put on that nice guy label like that's going to get them some brownie points. That don't do nothing but make a woman yawn in your face. They create relationships that are less than satisfying because you don't have any boundaries. You don't have any wish. You don't express yourself. You don't do nothing. Oh, whatever you want to do. Oh, yeah, yeah. And a woman is looking for you to have some input to be able to say no, to tell her what you need and what you want. And you guys never do that. And plus, these super nice dudes, they just never, they have potential, but as we said, they don't never live up to it. Okay, then with the nice girls, what do nice girls do? Your behavior is rooted in the fact that you feel like you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You have to earn people's love. You have to earn friendship. You have to earn people to like you, to want to go out with you. You feel like you have to do something. You have to perform. You have to take care of. You have to do all the stuff in order for them to want to be with you. A lot of guys will use that against you. There's a video on the channel. I'll try to remember to link to it where they want a woman who has low self-esteem and who will jump through hoops for them. They want that, and it puts them in a power seat. But see, you're not going to do that because why? You, the grown woman, you're on that 21-point checklist, getting your grown woman on, and so of course you're good enough. Now he might not want you, but so what? He's one of 40 million. Just keep it moving. So, you doing all this stuff, okay? So you want to people please. That's the term. You people please. That's one of the key traits of the quote good woman, good girl. Number two, you have difficulty saying no. It's like you just can't say no to save your life. Oh, well, we'll see. Well, I think about it. Oh, hee. I don't know. I don't know. You give all these little whiny, wimpy answers instead of just saying no. Or hell no. I'm not doing that. Boundaries, clear, defined, firm. You just don't do that. You don't ever say no. And of course you end up overgiving and sacrificing yourself to the point of exhaustion, not taking care of yourself because you're trying to do everything and please everybody else. Number three, you don't want to upset people. So you don't want to say things that might be considered to be somewhat controversial. Like, okay, you have a friend. Oh, my mother had to work with me. Um, my mother had to work with me on this as a child because she called it learning to be tactful. But I was just, whatever was the situation, I would just tell people. I just didn't care. No filter. One time I told my aunt, you need to take a bath because you stink. And I was like 5. And she went and she took a bath. And that's how I've always been. I'ma just tell you now how it lands on you. That's you. I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm just going to tell you the reality and the facts, just like I do now on this show. So you have a friend, like say you out shopping with your girl, right? And she a little got a few extra pounds on her, and so she want to put on this like spandex thing, and she don't have no, what they call that shapewear on, and she probably just really shouldn't wear spandex because she just doesn't have the figure for those kinds of things anymore. And she puts this thing on. Now, my mother was the one who told me, well, you say things that are tactful, like you don't have to tell her, oh my God, you look like a sausage squeezed into a too small casing in that dress. Take that thing off. Okay, that would be what I would want to say. But my mother said, no, you shouldn't say things like that, Deborah. What you should say, well, I think another style might be more flattering, but the color's beautiful, something along those lines. So it softens the blow. And I could understand where she was coming from, but can I do that? No. I probably could, but I just don't want to. It takes too long to. I have to sit there and think of how to put it. And by that time, it's like 10 minutes later before I come up with something. But anyway, that's what you nice girls do. You just do that just like so well. You just dodge the issue completely, and you just lie. Yeah, girl, that looks good. Girl, that'll be cute in the club. You could go with them blue shoes you have. That'd be banging. And in the meantime, your friend is in the club looking like a hot mess because you didn't tell her the truth about how horrible she looked with all her jelly rolls poking out in that dress. See, no. But that's what you do. You always want to be, extra kind and you don't want to, cause people to be upset. So you think. Number four, you have a fear of commitment. I don't know if you guys remember what I talked about the other night. How women have a fear of commitment, but they tend to be more passive with it, and the way that men have display theirs is overtly. They will just straight tell you, or they just dip out, ghost you, whatever, because they don't want to be committed, and they'll straight tell you that. Women do their fear of commitment in express it in a different way. Women do what I call the passive aggressive method, which is they will intentionally choose a man with whom commitment and long term relationship is impossible. For example, the relationship is gonna fail, right? Okay, he's still married to somebody else. Ain't you that he's married to? Okay, that's always a bad one. He's living with some other woman, but he has some excuse why that is. They have an agreement or something like that. But it's still, you can't go over to his house, and it's just that's how it is. Or there's a big age difference, so he tries to slide into that daddy role, or you slide into that mommy role, taking care of somebody who's 25 years younger than you. Or you have different goals. Say, for instance, you want children in marriage and he doesn't. Well, why are you still with him? Okay, once he told you that relationship should have been over that second, because that's your goal. You have every right to get it. And then that man is just not available or interested in what you're talking about. He's single, but his heart still belongs to another woman. Or he's single, but he has somebody pregnant or a brand new baby on the way. Or he has some kind of addiction. That's his woman. It can't never be you. or he's locked up in prison. Cause you never gonna have to worry about paying the bills with him or fighting about who's doing the dishes or why you didn't clean. Why is your wet towel on the bathroom floor again? This kind of stuff. You're never gonna have those kind of arguments with him because he's locked up in prison. It's a fantasy relationship. So these kind of things are the kinds of things that a woman who is a nice girl but who is terrified of commitment will do. And number five, you prioritize other people and their needs and wants over your own. That's very important to you guys for some reason. And you always want to help other people. You offer to help them even when they didn't ask for help. You want to step in and take over and do it for them all the time. You do that for your kids constantly. So you grow up and raise these dusty sons that are not used to doing nothing because you just so too nice to them. You started being the nice girl, you too nice mama. Um, or the last one. No, I'm sorry, the next to last one. You're always smiling even when you don't feel like it. Even when you're sad, even when you're depressed, even when you want to cry, you still try to keep this smile on your face because you want to make a presentation to everybody that you're okay and that they don't have to worry about you and they can see you as a quote nice person who's always happy and always in a good mood and not instead of your authentic self. And then the last one that's a good sign of somebody who's got the nice girl syndrome, any criticism of you, anything that you even remotely think is not acknowledging you the way that you want to be acknowledged for your quote niceness, you get so in your feelings, it's just ridiculous. You take everything personally. Everything somebody says that you could even be remotely considered as a criticism, no matter how light, you take it as like a personal attack, like they're trying to kill you or something. It's just unbelievable. Some of the responses that some of these women have, the defensiveness is just ridiculous. So, you know, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about there. So let me go back to where was I? Man, I have way too many pieces of paper. This is my problem. Hold on a second, you guys. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, I found it. Oh, a key point, a key sign of someone who is operating one of these secret agreements, these covert contracts, is that they are frequently disappointed in their partner. And you have a bad case of what I call shoulding. They should. No, they should have done it. I shouldn't have to tell them that. He should be this way. She should be that way. Y'all got shooting real bad. And you have all these secret expectations that you ain't told nobody. And so you set them up. You set yourself up too. You set yourself up to be disappointed because nobody knows what's going on in your deep, dark recesses of your mind and what it is that you want. You aren't telling anyone. So you think about this, if your partner regularly lets you down and you feel like you have needs that are going unfulfilled and you feel like you're constantly being disappointed, um, that usually indicates that you are operating some kind of secret agreement. But the bottom line is you are not allowed to complain. Don't you say nothing, not one word about not getting anything that you never fixed your lips to ask for. You never asked for it. Nobody knows you want it. What is it that you're so afraid of? It's like this terror that women have of being um, assertive and saying what it is they want and saying what it is they're not going to tolerate and what they don't want. I mean, it's just like you guys don't want to say anything. You just want to be in a relationship and just with this magical fairy tale thinking that this man is going to meet all your needs and do everything that you want him to do all the time without you ever telling him. And then the other part of that is the women who, I tell them, okay, dudes are not psychic and they're kind of dumb. So you have to tell them what it is that you want, and you'll probably have to tell them more than one time. Oh, this is most chick. What? What? Oh, he should already know. I shouldn't have to be telling him all the time, like he's a child, and this and that, and blah blah blah. What kind of man don't already know this and that, and then? And so they're going on and on. So I'm just looking at them, because I'm just like listening to this, all this tirade, all these emotions about nothing. I'm like, look, you could have those emotions if you had said, look here, son, these are my expectations in the relationship. Can you meet those? Are you willing to meet those? And he will say yes or no. So if he says yes, then you say, okay, well, what are yours? And then he'll tell you, can you meet those? If so, y'all have agreement. It's not a secret anymore. Each party has signed the contract. Each party is fully on board with the agreement. Each one of you knows what the other's expectations are and the parameters. And there's always time to fine tune these things. You know what I mean? There's no problem there. But you have to work out what's going to work well for you. And you have to open your mouth. Okay? Dudes are not, I mean, they're not mind readers. They're not psychic. They barely remember anything as it is. They remember stupid stuff like jokes from third grade and sports scores. Okay? They can remember that. But you send them to the grocery store and tell them to buy three things, they're going to come back with two. Oh, I forgot what the third thing was. That's the male mind. They be thinking about something that don't have nothing to do with nothing. So if you want your man to be able to satisfy your needs and get you what it is you want, you have to tell him. In a situation like the grocery store, you text him the list. He can put it on his phone. He don't have to call you. There it is right there. And he says, oh, then he goes up and down the aisles and he gets the thing. See, set your relationship up for success, ladies. Stop thinking that everybody is like you. And that is like the main problem. Well, I thought, everybody was like that. Well, what made you think that? Does everybody look like you? Does everybody have your same name? Is everybody your same height, weight, age? What? Who? Why would you even imagine that everybody thought anything? Or was any kind of way? That makes no sense. Zero. So you sitting up there and you're putting all this burden on some man. He might really want to make you happy, but you got him pitching around and struggling, trying to figure out how to do it because you too scared to tell him. Please, they get tired of me telling them. I'll be telling them every goddamn thing. Like, look, make up the bed when you get up. Don't you leave no shave his hairs in the sink. And you better put the wet bath over the side of the tub so it could dry out. If you piss on the toilet, you better clean it up and put the seat down when you're done. Okay, I'm going to tell you everything. And then when I go to the bathroom, all that stuff better be that way too, because or I'm going to go off. I'm going to lose my mind and we're going to have a problem. So it's like you can't say I never told you. I will tell you everything, probably more than what you want to know. So my man never had this problem. But y'all, I mean, hearing women, my female friends and coworkers and stuff, people that I've, used to train with at the gym, all kinds of stuff. We're talking about 30, 40 years of women talking about men from high school, okay? And it's always the same. You guys just be full of, well, he should. Well, why don't he? Well, I shouldn't have to. And all this kind of stuff. It's like if you haven't done it, if you haven't asked him, if you haven't told him, you haven't made it on a list, you haven't done something to communicate to this man in a way that he's going to understand, you cannot complain. Shut your pie hole. Don't say nothing because that's your fault. Okay? Now, if you did and then he didn't do it, that's something different. But the majority of you don't say anything. You don't want to, which I can't figure that out to save my life. Now, sometimes what this really is you guys, it's the path of least resistance. It's easy. It's easy to not say anything, right? Because you don't have to you don't have to risk the person telling you no. And so this fear of, somebody telling you no and rejecting your ideas and stuff is very hard for most of you. You create a lose-lose scenario. He loses because he's denied the ability to make you happy because he doesn't know what's going to make you happy, and you deny yourself the right to be happy because the man wants to make you happy, but he don't know what you want him to do. So here's two people that would love to do something to make each other happy, but it's not being openly communicated, and so there's this secret agenda going on. What is the benefit to that? What is the benefit to that? I mean, I would like someone to tell me what is the benefit to not saying what it is that you want. Because I'm trying to understand that. I mean, I understand psychologically why people don't do it, the riskiness factor. But, my thing is for some people, we all do something because we perceive there to be a benefit to us in some way. What is the benefit of having your partner struggling to know what makes you happy? Where's the benefit there? I just don't know that. Another thing that is kind of interesting is oh shoot, I forgot my train of thought. Never mind. Let's move on. Yeah, this was I kind of touched on this a second ago, but this is the rules and the expectations that you keep hidden from everybody, the secret agreement that you have with them without their agreement. So you have an agreement, but it's only in your mind, right? It's things that you expect them to do in terms of behavior, the way that you expect them to treat you, the way that you expect to be talked to, the things you expect them to do, maybe around the house. All of these things without you actually and directly telling them what it is that you hope. You just thinking and hoping, wishing and praying that they just gonna know it magically by some amazing way that we haven't figured out yet. But when you have somebody who's using these covert contract methods, you're basically denying that person consent to participate. Have you participate fully in their life and they're in yours. So it's like you put up a big boundary there, and yeah, you can always have something to complain about. Well, that might be a good point. I know Trinity put in there because I just asked what's the benefit, and she said because you can always have something to complain about, and she said she's just kidding, but I think that you're onto something, um, because that is what a lot of women do. That is all they want to do is as soon as you pick up the phone, this this ninja and blah 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 blah, and they start going off telling, complaining about their man, and it's like can we just talk about something else other than him for a change? And you complaining about him. What are you doing to change things? This isn't a perfect way to at least try to get stuff changed in your relationship. But if you aren't willing to take that risk, then you don't really get to complain. That's what I'm saying. You don't get to complain about not getting something that you haven't asked for. You need to just shut up. And all that complaining and stuff, I don't want to hear all that. People want to be talking about complaining about their man. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. That's between y'all. Fix that. And when you have these covert contracts, like I said earlier, they are based on the unreasonable and ridiculous belief that everybody thinks just like you do. So you shouldn't have to tell them what you want. You shouldn't have to tell them that what respect means. You shouldn't have to tell them what your expectations are. You shouldn't have to tell them anything. They should just know because everybody in your mind thinks the same. Now that's kind of a narc thing, don't you think? That you think that the way you think is the way everybody thinks, and that's the way a lot of men are. Well, I thought everybody thought like that. They say that all the time. And I just be quick to break them down and tell them, no, no, you the only fool to think like that. Ain't nobody else thinking like crazy conversation the way you are. She said, I gotta go wash my hair. It's just too much. It's just too much. Um, This is why, right here, which I mentioned, the rejection part, but also the fear of, thanks, Danielle. Oh, uh, you're also afraid of confrontation, and you're afraid of abandonment. The confrontation part, a lot of people will say, well, I don't like to fight. I don't want to argue. You're not arguing. There's no argument. You state what it is that you want, what's your bottom line, and the other person either agrees or not. That's not an argument. An argument if you say, well, yeah, but and you want to try to make them see your point of view. That's not the way that this goes. You are a grown woman. You say, look, son, in order to be with me, this is how it's gonna go. You can either be a part of the show or you don't have to be. I mean, that's your choice. But I'm just telling you what the parameters are for you to take this ride. This is what the expectations are. And the instant that you don't meet those expectations, the ride is over. So I just want you to understand this is how it's going to be if you want to take this ride over here. Now fully capable, walk out the door. But see, a lot of you're afraid of that part, of him leaving. That part that drives you crazy. That a fear of abandonment. So you keep your mouth shut and you just swallow your disappointment. You swallow your pride. You swallow your boundaries. You swallow your morals and values and everything else about yourself in order to bend and flex and become who and what you think this man wants you to be, because you are more focused on having a relationship and pleasing him than you are on having a fully frontal, honest to goodness, good communication with two souls on the same page kind of relationship. That's too scary to you. You are just terrified either of him saying, no, I don't want to do that. I just, want to mess around or whatever. Or that, he's going to, just say, well, this I thought this was pretty good, but I can't keep this up. I don't really want to do all of this. It's too much work. It's all this, and then he'll just leave. So a lot of you just hope that if you just go along with whatever it is he's doing, that you'll be, you can keep the relationship going. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to be delicate because I made a promise to myself that most of, if not all of the videos for Debruary would be past Google inspection. So I'm being very careful with what I'm saying. But you understand where I'm going with that, right? You know what I mean. So you don't want to bring these issues up because you're terrified that something bad is going to happen in the relationship. Now, I don't usually like that word bitter, but in this particular instance, it dictionary definition of bitterness fits this situation here. So when you have these secret agendas, right, and you're in a situation, these covert agreements, and you're not getting your needs met, what happens? You get angry, right? And since your agreement is secret and you're shooting yourself to death, then you're getting, you're building up all of this bitterness that this person is not meeting your needs. So it starts like, um, the person has let you down or whatever, and here you go. So you say, well, they should just notice because that means if they're not doing what I want, that means they're doing it on purpose. And they know what I want because everybody knows, right? Everybody thinks this way. Everybody believes this way. And they're still not doing it. Therefore, that means they're choosing not to do it. That means they're deliberately disrespecting me. They deliberately are treating me bad. Okay, so this is the message that you got through yourself to some person who's just over there, la di da da, don't know nothing about what you're talking about. Don't know nothing about what it is you want. You ain't said nary a word to them. But you got this whole dialogue going on in your head where this person is intentionally dogging you out. This person is intentionally not meeting your needs. This person is intentionally not giving you what you want. And you mad as hell about it. Now, sometimes, if you're like me, you just, you explode and, you blow people's hair back and you cuss them out and you do all these kind of things. I don't hold my anger in. You're going to be holding my anger for me because I'm going to give it to you. Okay, now, but most women are so afraid of their anger. They're afraid of being angry. So what you do is it turns into depression. That's what they say. Anger turned inward is depression. So here you are in this relationship with, you're a mere shell of your former self. You don't have no needs anymore. You just going through the motions. You can't sleep. You gaining weight, hair falling out, all this stuff because you're so stressed out about what you're not getting in your relationship. But yet you still have not said to this man what it is that you want to see change or what you need him to give to you. Oh my God. Yes, exactly. Daniel said you become a shell of yourself. Exactly. That's exactly what will happen. You're just turning all of this anger in, trying to keep this relationship. Y'all will sacrifice everything you got to have a man around. I just don't understand that. I just, I don't know. Why don't you value yourselves more? Why don't you think that what you need from a guy is important enough to tell him? Why don't you think it's important enough for you to make sure that he gives to you? I just don't understand. It's just really sad to me. Oh, okay. Let's make sure I'm on the right note, the right slide here. Okay, so or you for people, if you take it really personally, and you feel like this person is rejecting you, right? Then you start, well, they should know what I want, or they do know what I want, but they don't think I'm worth it. They don't want to give it to me because I'm not worth that kind of love and affection and attention. So that's when, the depression sets in. You turn it into something that's like a negation of who you are. Like if you were worthy, then they would not have no problem giving this to you. But since you see yourself as not worthy, that's why they're not giving it to you. This is the mentality that these women online have, the ones that always be talking about colorism, and they have those things where these rappers say nasty things about dark skinned women. This is a perfect example. Now they don't know these fools. Okay, they don't have no value to them, no importance in their life, nothing, and yet they feel like because this complete stranger says something nasty about women that have, similar skin tone to them, not them personally, just, I don't know who the dudes be talking about. They take that as a negative indictment of themselves. Well, if I was something else, then he would think I was worthy and then he would love me and men like him would love me. You see what I mean? It's the same mentality, but it's you're not looking at, well, this is the relationship that I want, this is the man I want it with. I'm communicating to this man my needs. He doesn't want to give them to me. That's his right. He has every right to say no, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to do it with you. They don't owe you anything, ladies. Come on now. And it's the same with these dudes, like whining by the millions online, talking about how women don't want them and they deserve to have a woman. And also, it's the same shit. But the women have one view of it and the men another. But the mentality that you deserve something just because you want it, and that you're worthy just because you want it, and that people owe you something just because you think they do, is exactly the same. It's messed up. Okay? This is like a time for couch time. There's something wrong with your thinking. Okay, we're talking about complete strangers here. They don't know you. They don't owe you crap. Okay, even if you went on a date or two with them, they're still complete strangers. They don't owe you crap. You want to go with them, date them, they're still a complete stranger. They don't owe you crap. Nobody owes you anything. Okay, unless they sign on to do that. And if you keeping your desires and wishes and stuff a secret, well, then you're never going to have that kind of agreement, a commitment from anybody, because nobody knows what the hell it is that you want them to commit to. It's all a mystery. Woo, Lord have mercy. This is just unbelievable. Yeah, I don't watch them in either, but they be telling me and sending me that stuff, trying to get me to watch it. I'm not watching that trash. The last one I watched, I made an ugly video about that tattooed, grilled up, looking like a I don't know what kind of creature that little boy looked like, but he was hideous. I was like, wow. And people go to concerts to see him, and people actually care what he says. They're like, oh, well, he thinks this. Or can he think? First of all, let's start there. Who said he had the capacity to think? Just because you have a brain in your head that's running your body and making you blink and breathe air and stuff does not mean you have the capacity for intellectual thought. Two completely different things. Okay? I'm just saying. I was looking at that like, okay, he would not even be a bleep on my radar, even from far, far away. So I don't understand why they were so up in their feelings about what this one idiot rapper, who's not known to be, they not known to have high IQs. Why are you worried about what that fool says? I didn't get it. Okay. Um, I don't know where the hell I am. Okay, now it's time to figure out. It's time for some show and tell. Are you in a covert contract in your relationship? Does the man that you're with constantly disappoint you, even though you've never directly asked him for what it is that you want? Hints don't count, ladies. You know, I'm keep telling you, men are kind of dumb. I mean, the guys who get hints tend to be players. Your average dude, just, your average regular guy. Because, see, players study women. Narcs, they study people. They understand what hints are and stuff because they know that that's a way to get to you and manipulate you. Somebody who's just, a regular person is not, no, he needs you to tell him. Okay? If you got a guy who's anticipating your needs and stuff like that, you better watch out because that means and you haven't known him for very long, you got a narc on your hand and he's a masterful at it. You should be worried, very worried. The regular dudes, you got to tell them what it is that you want because they're like, oh, okay. And then they do what you want and you're happy, then that makes them happy because then they know they're pleasing you. And men like that. They like to please their lady, they like to see her happy with them. Okay, that's a benefit boost to their ego. All right, so you got people in your life that let you down, right? People that hurt your feelings, so you say. People that seem to be depriving you and holding back, and you never asked them to behave differently, though. You never told them what you wanted, though. You never clearly laid out what respect looks like to you, what love looks like to you, what commitment looks like to you, what a relationship looks like to you, what marriage looks like to you, what it means to you to be husband and wife, what family means to you. Those are the deep conversations that you should be having with a man before you even just think about marrying him. What do those things mean to you? Are you guys on the same page? What are your expectations in these various situations? Right? So he knows. You've communicated, you've told him. That's a fully frontal, upfront situation. If you ain't had them conversations and you calling yourself being in a relationship, you are in one of these covert contract situations. That's what you are. And neither one of you knows what the hell you doing. You just there. You a situationship. Okay, that's like there's no depth to it because you don't nobody know nothing about the other person. Oh, Lord have mercy. And this applies, whether it's a romantic relationship or friendship, work relationship. I mean, we deal with all of those, any kind of interpersonal relationship I deal with on this channel, but primarily it's romantic relationships. So that's primarily what I'm talking about. You're going to be joining yourself with some guy and trying to have a long-term relationship, get married, have kids, all this old stuff here, and you ain't had these kind of conversations. You need to go back to the drawing board because what you may find when you start having these is that you two are completely incompatible. So whether it blows up now or blows up later after you have a bunch of kids and get in debt and it causes a whole bunch of drama, it's better to get out of a situation where there's no compatibility early than it is later. And be woman enough to ask the hard questions and make the hard statements about what it is you want out of your life. I mean, stop running, stop hiding, stop trying to pretend to be something that you're not. And not telling him what it is you want because you're scared he's going to leave if you tell him. Shit, he's going to leave anyway. In that case, because he's not really with you. He's with your representative. Okay? Oh, my goodness, you all. Any covert contracts that you have, you need to cancel them. Just cancel those. and take the steps to expose what it is that you want and tell him that, you know. Sit there, I mean, brace yourself, 'cause, you let him tell you what it is he wants. Because sometimes, they come up with some crazy stuff. Well, I've always wanted to have, to be having two wives and, be in a polygynous relationship or something like that. And see, if you ain't had that conversation, you wouldn't have known that was in the back of his mind when what you thinking you having a regular relationship and he thinking about wife number two and three. And you be sitting up there like, say what? And you could have had this conversation a long time ago. And no, or you want kids and he doesn't. I don't want any children. I never wanted kids. Or he wants kids and you don't. I mean, these are kind of things there's insurmountable, irreconcilable differences because you can't like kind of have a kid. You either have one or you don't. Or you want to be married and he doesn't, vice versa. He wants to be married and you don't. That was the case with me. I mean, I eventually gave in, but I mean, I had no interest in being married. I'm surprised he stuck around to tell you the truth because I said no. And then I said no again. And then I said no the third time, but then I had to renege on that time. But I'm just saying, you know, if it was me, I would have left. I would have left me alone. So here's some ideas. Now, if you're really struggling, you're like, okay, Deb, I just heard everything you said. I'm put my big girl drawers on now. I'm going to talk to my man, and I'm going to stop hiding. I'm going to get in these covert contracts that I've been operating this relationship under, but I don't know how to do it. What do I say to this man? How do I start approaching it? And then for those of you who are single, if you have another, you're single right now, but you run into somebody and you want to make sure that you start off on the right foot and you don't go into the relationship with any coverted contracts or you don't let him have any either, these are some of the things that you might want to discuss. Um, just first of all, you just understand you got to be very open. It's risky being open. You putting stuff on the line being open. But you got to be open about everything that you want and everything that you expect. And I like to also throw in there and everything that you refuse to put up with. Okay, so it's kind of like a trifecta. It's three things. So discuss these things with your dude. The definition of respectful behavior, what it means to respect you and what you want them to do. Well, I mean, what you're going to do to show respect for them, get the answer from them too. So both of you leave this discussion knowing what respect means to the other and how it can be demonstrated. All right, because you want your man to feel respected and you want yourself to feel respected too. Okay, there's a way to do everything. You can even cuss them out, but you can do it in a respectful way. Okay, you have to set out what your boundaries are. The boundaries about what you do and what you do not like other people to do. These like boundaries of behavior. This could be, I don't know, be home from, if you're gonna be late for dinner, you call. If you are going to hang out with your friends on the weekend, we talk about it and we set up something for a babysitter so we can both go out that night. You with your friends and me with mine. I don't know, whatever it is, but he's not gonna cuss you out. He's not gonna just bring people to the house without announcing it, inviting an invitation coming from both of you. That's unexpected guest at the house. No, you're not doing that. Stuff like that. I mean, there's a long list and it's gonna vary from person to person, and it will probably be change. It will probably change, as their relationship gets older. New situations will come up. There'll probably be new things added to it. But you got to start with something. Okay, what are your boundaries? And let him know. Number three, any boundaries that you have around your personal time, your personal space, and your choices. These are important. What is it you want in terms of being, having like your private time, being away from them, like for your hobbies and interests, for his hobbies and interests, gym time, hanging with his dudes, playing basketball on the weekend. What are the boundaries that you want to see? How much time do you need to spend with your partner so that you guys can negotiate that everybody's on the same page and nobody's mad? Well, I never see you. Well, we don't never do nothing together. that shouldn't be left to choice. See, you haven't, again, the covert agreement in your head that you haven't expressed. You're complaining, but you're saying, look, I need to have this much time with you every week. You're going to have to change something about all this ripping and running you want to do. Either you're going to be dating me or you're going to be dating your boys. Which one is it? We need to change this because this is not the kind of relationship that makes me feel good. I spend too much time by myself. If I'm going to be by myself, then I just to be by myself. So let's work this out kind of thing. Put it on the line. Don't be getting mad. Don't get mad at him. Tell him what you want. Okay? Um, and also included in there what you want when you are together. What do you want? Are you just gonna be sitting there looking TV and looking at each other? Are you gonna do activities? You're gonna go places. You're gonna travel. You're gonna go out to dinner. You're gonna go to lunch. You're gonna take a class together. What? What you gonna do? Okay, think about that too. Then you're gonna set out what it is your expectations are, your desires are, your wants, your hopes. What do you need from that man for this to be a good relationship? Like what level of commitment? What level of affection? What level of PDAs? I mean, family visits. I mean, what is it that you need from him so that you can be happy with him? What can he provide for you? What can he provide for you that will make you feel solid and secure and stable in the relationship? What do you expect him to give to you and what do you expect him to do for you? Okay, think about that. And then talk about the deal breakers. Everybody should go into their relationship knowing, okay, this is my bottom line right here. And if you do these things, these are the things that will end this relationship instantly. No ifs, ands, or but. And they should be brought out early so that people will know. Because just because you have this thing, well, he should know. Everybody should know. Everybody knows that. We're not doing that. Remember, those are part of the secret agreement, the covert contract that you have in your mind, thinking that everybody thinks just like you do. I mean, we can't say that there's anything that everybody thinks of the same. Nothing. I mean, like for me, any man come talking about, well, I'm a God-fearing man. I'm out. Okay? Whereas a lot of women will be like, oh my God, I finally found one. So you see what I mean? Everybody's different. So you have to communicate what it is that your deal breakers are. Cheating, putting his hands on you. Um, what you expect in the bedroom, for example. Is that if he does ask for certain things or his interests go into certain levels of weirdness, are you out? I am. I don't care how much I love you. There's gonna be certain things I just not gonna do, and I don't want to talk about it either. And if you do it, I'm out. If you even talk to me about it, I'm out. Because if you're talking about it, that means you're thinking about it. I'm out. So you have to, know what it is that what's your bottom line. You have to have the same religious beliefs, the same spiritual beliefs. I mean, what? What are your bottom lines that's going to make you chuck up the deuces and be out? And, you got to prepare yourself to be prepared for him to go, to lose him, for him to end the relationship or for you to. But, don't you think it's better for that thing that's not really for you? If you be direct and honest and open, a situation that's not really for you will, it just won't waste your time. We have a finite amount of time on this planet. Why am I saying I'm talking about dusty stuff? And you don't need to waste your time in a relationship that's not going to ever give you what you want with a man who's not interested in giving you what you need. Okay, it's just not going to happen. It's just wasting your life. And so many women in those kind of relationships are, like we said, depressed, angry, um, confused. Their self worth is diminished. all kinds of stuff. And just be careful. Just remember though, um, feel feel confident enough about what it is that you want and the person that you are to articulate openly and honestly and fully and clearly what it is that you as a woman need in your relationship. What do you expect your man to provide for you? What do you expect your man to give to you? How do you expect your man to act and treat you? Let him know all of those things, and then be sure that he gives an opportunity to ask you the same thing and have your answers ready. What you're going to provide for him, what you're going to do for him. How are you going to help create a healthy relationship with him so that you're both happy, both fulfilled, and you both feel loved and connected to each other? That's essentially what you want. You got to they spell out things like, even like guys who do stuff like, I don't know, they answer their cell phone and then they want to step outside. No, we're not doing that. If it's something, work related, and we know you on your work phone and it's your boss, we can hear him on the speakerphone, well, then you could go in another room and talk. But you're just getting social calls and you want to be dipping out. Every time your phone rings, you got to go in another room. How is that open and honest? What's going on here? That kind of stuff creates doubts and confusion and distrust. So, but some people might be okay with that. Others, like me, are not. I'm gonna talk to you right here where you are, unless you're trying to watch a show or something. And my conversation is going to distract you. Well, then I'll get up and go in another room because that would be the polite thing to do. You trying to watch your movie, you watching your game or whatever, and here I am to my girlfriend on the phone in the background. Well, that's rude. But I'm just saying, as a matter of course, this is what this person does. Every time their phone rings, they'd be like, "Oh, hold on a second," and they dipping out to go talk on the phone. So, no, we're not having that. Well, we're going to talk about that on an upcoming show because, I have some open slots. I hadn't decided what to do yet. And one of the things I want to talk about is how you create, using these ideas from today's show, how you use them to create a relationship contract. I think this is kind of thing. I saw something kind of funny. It was a joke called the booty call contract or something like that. And it was it was a meme, so it was funny. It was designed to be hilarious, but in reality I think if we started taking the attorney approach to the stuff that we get ourselves involved in and created a contract for performance, it might alleviate a lot of confusion and help people be on the same page. So all these things, instead of just saying them, they would be in a written form. I remember seeing this movie. So one of those Korean dramas I like to watch called "Cause This Is My First Life." If you see it, I think it's on Netflix. Um, and it was very interesting because those people finally got together, but they didn't want their relationship to be just like everyone else's. So every year they sat down and negotiated a contract for their relationship. That's where I got this idea from. And talked about what they would do in their interactions with their families. I mean, it was very good, and they negotiated their own marriage that met each one of them's needs outside of their traditional culture and their family demands. And I thought this was absolutely brilliant. I don't know who thought of that to put that in a movie, but that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna give you some ideas for a relationship contract, and we're gonna talk about that too. Just remember, your people, your man is not psychic. Okay, he ain't gonna be able to read your mind. And half the time, like I said, you tell him something, you're gonna have to tell him more than one time because men are just kind of dense sometimes. Some of them are sharp, but the majority are kind of like, oh, okay. And then but they don't really get it, but they're trying to process it. You can see their eyes going, they're trying to like figure out what it is you're saying. So you might have to say it more than one time or using different words or, something like that. Maybe write it one time, send up a smoke signal another time, a carrier pigeon another time. Some kind of way for him to fully grasp what it is that you're saying to him. But for the most part, if a man loves you, he wants to make you happy, ladies. You love him, you want to make him happy too. Truly advocate that you guys stop hiding from each other, stop this stuff, and get on with really, putting yourself out there and either make the relationship work with 100% full investment or get all the way out of it because it's not going to work. the two of you are just, it's just a waste of both of your time. And then that's what it takes, to be really, really on top of this. So that is our show for today on covert contracts and secret agreements. I hope that it really explains, put something on your mind so that you can gotta get an idea of how you've been operating and where you may have fallen into some of these traps in your relationships. And I'm telling you, the main thing that this is going to take, it just mainly is two things going to take. Number one, you knowing what it is that you want, which a lot of you really don't. So let's start there. What is it you want? What is it you need from a man? Don't focus on what you don't want. Everybody knows that. Focus on what you do. Okay. And then number two, being a big girl, big enough, grown woman enough to have the courage to express it to the man in your life. Okay, those are two things that a lot of you will probably kind of struggle with, but work on that. That's what this whole month is about. Finding you, guiding you to be your best self and to make the magic happen in life and love. That is the theme of this week's show. I want to also let you know, um, if you have something that you want to submit to What the Fuck Tuesday, you still got a couple of days here. You have an advice question you want to send in, down in the show description below, there's a link to the advice question submission form. Just scroll down in that document and see the link. Click it and fill out your advice question. We will be still, taking questions up until Tuesday morning. So you still got time. But, if you have an advice question, something you came across, something that's confusing to you about something even that you've heard on the last couple of programs, send in your advice letter and get it answered before too long. We got space for, I think, about 5 or 6 more letters in this column. All right. So I want to thank you guys for coming, spending this time with me on a lovely Sunday afternoon. There's plenty more coming for days 11 through 29 of Video a Day, Debruary 2020. Be sure to hit that like button on your way out and hit that subscription button with the instant notification so you get reminded when the shows are scheduled and when the shows go live, because y'all be forgetting. Then you be coming up in here, oh no, I missed it. Oh my God. So to avoid that, hit that instant notification bell. This is Deb Cooper, survivingdating.com. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thanks, Lady Boss, for being the wonderful person that you are, having a sister's back 24/7. I will see you guys in a day or two. Bye bye.